Okay, we ready to start? Okay, so here we are. Are we gonna have a forum tonight? Because it looks like we have quite a few things over this last time.
We just missed the meeting minutes
Okay.
last time. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I guess that's the first one. Discussion action on April 28th meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
A second. Good, all in favor? All right, moving right along to the action on the May 27th meeting.
Got it.
I wasn't here at that meeting, so I'm not gonna. Make any motions about it.
I make a motion to accept the meeting, that minutes.
There you go. Okay, so tonight looks like we're reviewing the historic resource section.
Yep. One.
Yeah.
How did everyone view this iteration of report research drafts? I think it was cut down quite a bit, it's a little repetitive, more based on the 1997. Especially the historical narrative section, so it's kind of just a revamped version of the 97 compound historical research chapter with the modern requirements, where they talk about the MHPC and some of the required just things that are required that we have to cover this in this iteration of the plan. There weren't too many comments. I do have some questions in the chapter, so as always, I'm just gonna go through and we'll talk about it one comment at a time. So, does anyone know if Abenaki or Wabanaki is more accurate for this area?
I think Wabanaki is, but I don't know, I'm not for sure.
I'm not positive either. My understanding is that different areas of England differs the term, so that's okay. I think both are acceptable in this
I
case.
think
just figured
Abenaki
that's-
was mentioned in the 1997
Yeah.
one as well, but I honestly don't know which is
I think Wabanaki is an updated, more accurate name.
for that.
But I'm not sure if it differs. That's something that my understanding is both are acceptable. But I just figured might as well ask everyone else. And if anyone has questions or comments as I go through this, don't hesitate very much. There's correction on the spelling of Norwalk Shoe Company as Norwalk Shoe Co. And I only marked it.
That.
I only marked it because Jean had it as Norwock.
Yeah, that's what it should be, right? I mean, that's what it's always been. Yeah,
Okay,
Norwalk shoe.
I don't know.
It's not WALK, I
Okay.
know that, no.
yeah, over that comment. I just want to get back on the framing. Okay, apologies. We are
Norwock Shoe Company.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
all business. So 3 paragraphs into page 2, in 2024, New Balance announced it would close its Norridgewock plant, consolidate operators at its nearby Skowhegan facility. This marks a significant shift in the town's modern industrial story and raises questions about the future economic identity and reuse of the industrial site. So I feel that's an accurate descriptor.
Yeah.
Great. Then if no one has any comments, we're down at the bottom of page 3. Richard noted to remove one of the bullet points at the bottom of the page as bullet point 2. So the header above is to preserve these irreplaceable local resources the town could explore the Creek and Caldwell Warren and outreach to landowners in New York high sensitivity areas. And the requested bullet point to be struck is stricken, supporting future archaeological surveys as recommended by the MHPC. Are we comfortable removing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you ask them, they're always gonna tell you, we recommend it, so that.
I think you cover it on the next line where it says encouraging to work with them, consult with them.
Great. So there's no comments, we are. Down to the bottom of page 5 under Norridgewock Historical Society. I just mentioned Norridgewock Female Academy, I know we explained at greater lengths other buildings. Just, if I had Norridgewock Female Academy, is that well understood by people who will be reviewing the plan?
Well, it's right up above, it's referenced up above in the historic houses there.
Okay, so I
I
can
think
refer
it's
to it as is fine.
Yeah.
Then moving along. So at the bottom of page 7, similar to the last thing we moved. I highlighted the last sentence of paragraph under the table. It says reading the townwide architectural and historic survey would help identify additional resources that may be eligible for preservation or financial incentives. And again, this is just something that I want feedback on removing because it's another action item in the plan that we might not necessarily want it to be in there. There are no strong feelings, we can just leave it as is.
Change would to may. And then leave it.
Yeah,
Short.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Great. Okay, moving right along to the cemetery list. I couldn't find anything confirming whether Frederick Corner Cemetery and Holbrook Eagles Cemetery are the same. I'm wondering if
The map is accurate.
the map is accurate.
Yes, correct.
So Frederick Corners is that, I found Frederick Corners in. Maybe it was Madison, like really close to the town border.
The Holbrook Ingalls Cemetery
Mhm.
is the Frederick Corner Cemetery.
Okay, it is, yes.
and it's called cemetery, not.
It's Holbrook or Ingalls. They're interchangeable.
So is the way that I refer to it as the Holbrook Ingalls Cemetery satisfactory? So I'll remove the Frederick Corner Cemetery from the list. And maybe make a note of that in the whole. Do you have another location of the Harris Cemetery?
No,
Becky did?
I don't think these, the three that I highlighted are not cemeteries in North Carolina.
Okay. So we'll move the three that I highlighted. The Harris Cemetery, the Jewett, and the Wheeler Cemetery.
Yeah, I think in the lead into that, we should have something that. But it says here is a list, following is a list of known cemeteries in Norridgewock. No publicly maintained cemeteries or something like that. Are these all publicly maintained?
I think there's one on this list that may.
If they have better, then we have to, right? Yeah.
This list here are ones that the town maintains, but we know about others, but. I don't. You know, every family burial ground. Don't think necessarily needs to be inventoried.
Sure. He proposes a known publicly maintained or town maintained.
We have no Harris, no Druid. No Wood. The Druid cemetery in Madison.
It might be old Norridgewock. Kind of a thing, but.
Wasn't it some of them, they put the request out, but they never actually developed them, like, we ran into that with the title search on some people that
Mm.
had hundreds of acres and they wanted to give a burial plot to the family, but never actually
Finish it.
ever did anything with it, so it's sat out there for a while.
Then if we're gonna put that in there, go through and reword these, so it removes town maintained. If we're gonna say that in the first sentence, they look cemeteries.
Yeah, well, I just made a note, but I'll go through and edit the list of descriptors. Mm. In a sense, under the list, additional small burial grounds and family plots exist on older farmsteads, particularly in outlying rural areas. While many of these are no longer in active use, they remain important historical resources, may be vulnerable to neglect damage. I guess, is this a fair assumption or documented, or is this something that's accurate to keep the plan? Presumably,
Probably
And
accurate.
I'm sure that they're very good,
Oh, yes, yeah.
yeah.
like
I
all
mean,
of
there's
this,
headstones.
they might not be headstones anymore. if you follow
No,
the way.
right.
I'll leave that as is.
That number up there, did you ever find that date with a,
Yeah, I just noticed that, I went through last week before I sent it out and I checked all the information. So no, I didn't find that. There are some public, like archives for that information, see if we can find it. Oh, yeah, I looked through this and Whittam Cemetery,
is that the one that's way back on the river, like, almost like behind that big
I
field?
don't know that box, well, with the cemetery is language property.
I think
makes
the
sense.
Whittam Cemetery is off Sandy River Road. It's on like a dirt road, probably about 100 yards from Sandy River Road.
On the land property, like a gravel road, then you kind of got a mold that's in place. You can see it from the roadside.
I think the date, I didn't add the date because I was looking at findinggrave.com and it was random. I'll try again, if not, we can just remove the line getting the two says.
Halfway between Charlesboro and so.
Then there is, I do have a question to cover, one of the checklist questions, have significant historic resources fallen into disrepair, are there ways the community has talked about or could provide incentives to preserve their value as a historical resource? Or anything that comes to mind for significant historic resources that are falling into disrepair?
Like the,
Historic houses.
yeah, I mean, you got some older houses, but most prominently right now is, the Oddfellows. Which is
Oh,
the Reese
yes.
building on Depot Street.
The Oddfellows,
It was, oh, yeah,
that spelled as it sounds,
Yeah.
DD.
Yeah.
You're young.
But I think that's probably the most prominent one that
Yeah, definitely.
is in disrepair.
And it was it just the owners didn't maintain the maintenance or didn't maintain the maintenance? Okay,
right,
on his property, yeah.
that's.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
call it a
it's
significant
privately
historic resource.
Yeah.
It's the only like significant.
I mean, as far as structures go, yeah, I would. I mean, it's got art in the upstairs, the unique architecture inside.
But it does been birds and everything, it's been open for. It's such a shame.
At least 10 years.
Yeah.
So if there's a community can provide incentives to preserve their value as a historic resource.
It's beyond that.
It's no longer,
It
a
was
point,
discussed
yeah,
once. It's been discussed once. Putting,
We
Yeah, pretty much.
could,
the Oddfellows,
Well,
are-
yes,
So I don't think we should call out that specific house.
the Oddfellows, they were saying
I don't
that
think
it's been discussed.
Oh, what?
Call out that, oh, you know, the Oddfellows house due to whatever, you know, lack of maintenance, whatever. If we wanna answer this question, I think we say like. Some historic resources such as houses dating back to blank have fallen into disrepair, the town should support. Whatever. Blah, blah,
I don't
blah,
think it's a
blah.
reflection on the Oddfellows, they haven't owned it for a gazillion years.
I just, the property, the current
Yeah,
property, I don't think we should call out one building in the town. You know what I mean, it's 3 Bridge Street. 3 Bridge Street's on, you know, on this as well, I mean.
That's her brand new paint job and,
I-
but yeah, but like,
Regardless, does it,
Right.
they painted it? They was
yeah,
right
they
there.
painted the trim black too, like the
3 Bridge Street?
3 Bridge Street's below me, right?
No, 3 Bridge Street, no, 3 Bridge Street's next on the corner, next to my house.
And that's 8 Bridge Street, that's my house. What's your number?
Well, I have 3 Upper Main Street and 1 Main Street,
Okay,
that's
then
8
Bridge Street is my house, 3 Bridge Street's the house
The one
below.
that's, they're scraping right now?
No, the
That's-
one on
Right
Bridge
on the
Street.
corner.
Three more streets on the corner.
Yeah,
And that's been. Mrs. Collins' house.
right, if they're scraping.
That's Bridge Street,
That's
that's
3 Bridge
Bridge Street, oh, I thought you were saying Pelton's house was the other house on Bridge Street. Oh. Why wouldn't that house be on the historical?
It is,
register?
it's on, well, it's on the historic, it was built in circa 18.
No, I'm saying, why wouldn't her other, the house that she's in right now, is it,
Primary residence just beside the bridge.
yeah,
I was wondering about that, about the Manlick's house too.
right, those are,
It's far more iconic than your.
correct,
property.
right.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, my property's on it.
Anyway, I guess that's what I'm saying, is like, there are other houses that, like, I don't think it's fair to call out one address to, like, the Oddfellow house, whatever. I think that if we're gonna say something that says that there are historic buildings. It needs to be encompassing and generic, not calling out Robbie Bickford for not maintaining his house.
So it's not a house, it's commercial property.
Regardless.
Right.
No, it's. Oh, that one is, sure.
That one is, yeah.
Sure,
That's the.
sure, I, regardless.
That's the only difference for me would be like historical buildings that are being run by. Like the Grange and that sort of stuff, whether that's in disrepair. Or if it's somebody's house that they're living in,
I guess
or apartment buildings or whatever.
if the Grange hadn't received a grant a few years ago, would we be willing to put the Grange on this list as a threatened historical resource?
That's not what I'm trying to say, I just think to answer this question, if we're gonna answer this question. With a yes, right? Then what are we gonna do about it? What is the town, I'm not saying we need to have action items, I mean, it should be a write-up, or we don't say it. I just don't think we can call out one house.
But that's what I'm saying, so if we are sitting here 5 years ago before the Grange received a grant. To rehabilitate the structure, would we be comfortable putting Somerset Grange on this and saying the Grange is a threatened historic resource? And I would contend that you likely would say that Grange is a beautiful building, it's high visibility, it's historic, and the town needs to support it. Difficult, because you're talking individual versus nonprofit organization.
Sure.
So that's just the way, I don't really care, my opinion doesn't count. But if you just go generic, then there's really no action, I would cut it all
I
out.
would cut it completely if you're gonna go generic, cause
Well, we have to answer the question. We have to answer the
There's a
question.
question that needs to be addressed in passing. It can be, there are historic buildings that have fallen into disrepair, and the town is not actively pursuing
Perfect.
a way to
There you go.
preserve private property. Unless the building is owned by X organization.
I wouldn't even put that.
Okay.
I don't think you can call out like someone's primary residence, but calling out like a downtown building like that, I think would be fine. I don't think you should call it someone's primary residence.
right.
But
But I also, like, I guess I don't wanna say, yes, there's historical resources falling into disrepair, but the town's not willing to do anything about it. I don't wanna stand on that either, cause
Yeah.
that seems silly, like that's, I disagree, I think the town should preserve history, so, I don't know.
yeah, we'll get to some potential mechanisms for that in the policy and strategy portion.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily sit. This is supposed to be like a snapshot, right?
Right.
At a point in time.
Mhm.
By saying there are historic buildings that have fallen into disrepair, the town is not actively pursuing is different than the town doesn't feel it should or doesn't care.
Okay,
That's at least my perspective on it. But ultimately the phrasing is up to you all. If that still feels too negligent, maybe, then we
I mean, I think it's
can say
accurate.
the town is
I think
interested in
it's accurate, though. The town is not actively pursuing. Investing in historic buildings.
although there is interest in.
but we just did, I mean, I don't know.
What did we do?
the Grange,
That was a federal grant, the town got,
no,
Well, it was,
some of
it was
it,
a
yeah.
facade improvement grant, right?
no,
Facade improvement,
it
what
was
was it?
money that came to the town that was from the federal government that was accepted to offset lost revenue during the pandemic.
So that was not directly based on it being a historic building though.
That was
Was
one
it
of the
big
largest
nonprofit?
considerations of them having the leverage to receive that grant.
Yeah, I opened the door for it.
But
Right,
that's
so it's
not-
like,
It wasn't a restrictor, it
Wasn't
wasn't
really
through the
actively
door.
pursuing
It
that.
was
grant.
it was a major
But it also-
consideration.
yeah,
Does it also go because of the ownership? I mean, the building downtown
Oh,
is
yeah.
owned by one person.
Yeah, no, I
so
mean, I think- I
This
think
is an
it would make
actual
sense.
committee, or I mean, a community thing, you
It's a
know.
501c3, I'm sure.
Right.
The town looked at acquiring the Oddfellows Hall between 6 and 8 years ago, I'll say.
Yeah.
And the cost of acquiring it was reasonable, the cost of rehabilitating it was tremendous. It was estimated about $500,000 at that time. It's probably 5 million at this point.
Yeah. I mean, would you put something like, would it be feasible for the town to do it because it's private ownership or something like that, where? I mean, is it all in the wording, I guess? You know, it's not like we wouldn't wanna try if it was something that was available to us, but it's a
It's
private
tough
ownership.
Because like churches then fall under those historical pieces too, and it's dicey when you start. Money, putting money in. Allocating funds around.
I did have one question to go on, not after that, totally off that subject, but Upper Main Street, is that the one right there on the highway?
That's the big one.
So what is the, one of Main Street up past the fire department that's got a little thing on his house out there?
Bob's house?
Yeah. Would that be on this or no?
I mean, Becky would have put it on there.
It could, it all comes through the historical society, when you have a house of a certain age,
Okay,
then you can go to the historical society and it will trace the title
okay.
back.
And they have like the records of
Okay.
it. I'm surprised it's not on there. Bob's
See it
house.
on there.
I think that one of the things that the town can do to support things like this is to continue its contributions to organizations like the Historical Society that help track the importance of these structures and encourage participation and awareness of these structures. And that might be the better approach, because you have to be proactive to participate in those programs.
Certainly.
So if the town supported that,
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Like, yes, significant historic risks have fallen into disrepair, the town's support, the historical society.
awareness.
Through,
efforts.
from, providing awareness.
Yeah,
blah,
that's
blah, blah.
better.
So write something
That's
up,
better.
sure.
Right.
so what I have right now is there are privately owned historic buildings that have fallen into disrepair, the town does not currently have a municipal. Municipal mechanism, which maybe is a bit dramatic, in place to require property owners to maintain their historically significant properties. The town in the past has contributed to preservation through, promotion.
I would say support of the historical society,
Support of the,
focused on education and
Awareness.
awareness of historical arts
historical
versus direct financial.
society. And plans to continue to support their efforts. Yeah, so there are currently on historic buildings that have fallen into disrepair. The town does not currently have a municipal mechanism in place to require property owners to maintain their historically significant properties. The town in the past has contributed to preservation through support of the Norridgewock Historical Society and plans to continue to support. Maybe it's very redundant, I can fix it,
Clean it up.
I'll clean it up. Maybe throwing one example too, right, in that section, that we can mention the Grange there too, or is that we're getting?
I think that the town has demonstrated its commitment, its
Demonstrated
commitment to
its-
historic preservation.
Yeah.
For, you know, and then for instance, in the Grange to the Grange, Grant to the Grange, and how you wordsmith that, but.
Supporting the financing of improvements to the historic Grange building,
Through one sort of grant was used, utilizing blank grant.
utilizing
Grant.
a federal.
It wasn't the name on the grant, it was like COVID money, blah, 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 Joe Biden bipartisan infrastructure act, it wasn't.
None of that.
So,
I
Technically
think we
came from
know
town
how to get into
coffers.
that.
Yeah, right, I mean, we still have some of that residual money, but it's town money.
is it just go to the general fund if it's spent?
It's to storage, okay. The town has demonstrated its commitment to historical preservation through supporting, the finance, again. I'll be cleaned up, the financing of improvements to historical buildings such as Somerset Grange number 18. Great. Any questions so far? I think that's it for this chapter then.
I have something, so on page 11, you have a checklist question that the local site plan and our subdivision regulations require applicants proposing development areas that may contain historic or archaeological resources to conduct a survey for such resources. So both our site plan and our subdivision ordinance do.
Right. Which, but it's through the basic section of the state level, or is it?
It's in our ordinances, it's in the town ordinances. The site plan has two different, in the submission requirements, it talks about, if they're on the National Register of Historic Places and Archaeological Site identified by the Maine Historic Preservation Commission, and then it also goes on in general standards, it has a section under historic and archaeological resources. If any portion of a site has been identified or found to contain historic or archaeological resources, the development plan shall include appropriate measures for protecting the resources, including but not limited to modifications of the proposed building, site layout and design. And then the subdivision ordinance, section 3H, the proposed subdivision will not have an undue adverse effect on historic sites, archaeological sites, or significant wildlife habitat. But you do, and the subdivision ordinance is mostly based on the state right now. But this, a site plan was the town's.
Is. I didn't see exactly where I was, so I think I just don't mention.
No, but it was a checklist question asking if.
So the checklist, where the checklist questions are inserted is above the sections that are answering the checklist questions.
Well, it says
This
checklist
ordinance does
question
not have
on
any.
the side.
Get rid of the under main subdivision law.
Oh, yeah.
Proposed developments are required to consider impacts on historical and logical resources, so the second paragraph in. Says, talks about subdivision law, main subdivision law, which is what our subdivision ordinance is based off of.
Right.
The Norridgewock's not having a board, it's specifically dedicated to
Specifically to, thank you.
Which is historic
But
preservation.
we do in the site.
Yeah, but it's not specifically ordinance for that.
Yeah, so
It's part of
council
the-
have like a, I'm blanking on the exact phrasing of it, but like a historic preservation ordinance that
Okay.
specifically outlines it, and. We mentioned here, however, some limited protections are provided through the town subdivision regulations and state mandated shoreline zoning ordinance. I can add the site plan in there.
Yes,
Uh, So I'll incorporate the protections that are outlined under the site plan ordinance there. And if the introductory sentence does no longer fits what's in there, I'll change that as well. And then. Incorporate language in the site plan review, okay, this also eventually will change. The only other thing here that I have in my notes is that the announce section is a little bit long, a little bit lengthy, but it. I feel pretty thoroughly covers everything, I guess if we want that to be cut back, that's not a problem, but if. I sometimes think these long bullet lists, but I think are helpful if you're like just trying to flip through the chapter and get a gist is very helpful. I know some people use long bullet lists are kind of an eyesore, so if no one has any opinion, then we'll leave it as is. Finances.
like. Where do you?
All right, on to the next document, which is going to be the review. Does anyone mind if we do the policies and strategies for the historic resources before we go and move on to that. C and CIP chapter. Never remember how these statements work. So I would start with just reviewing the historic resources. Introductory paragraph. The goals all come from the state requirements, so. Get more specific, but I recommend leaving them as is. But that paragraph above. Is more malleable. What's that? Okay, so. Just a quick reminder, the required policies are, anything required is gonna be in black. Suggestions from myself / David Fogg are in green, and we can add anything. So we can strike any of the comments in, or the policy or strategy in green. Also. Before we go through the table, at the bottom of the page, there are some. Goals, policies and strategies from the previous plan. We just take a second to review those. And just have a brief discussion on whether those. Happened, had plans to happen, again. We don't know that, we'll understand that. And Richard, we just reviewed also that introductory statement under historic resources in all caps in the front. In the policies and strategies table. That's a malleable section if we want to change.
For historic preservation commission.
A lot of these policies and strategies from the previous plan were continuing ongoing support, like in that category, so it seems like a lot of that did happen, which is great.
Well, it looks like, I mean, if
Besides,
we didn't. Make a commission and we didn't create an ordinance, then
besides,
5 of them are.
oh, so the underlined are the like. Action plan
Yeah,
and the. But the town continues for the activities of society, including the plan reservation and the female academy.
mhm,
I'm assuming the town. Oh, after it's enacted, it's the historic preservation ordinance, okay,
Yeah, we didn't do
Right.
that.
that's what I mean, we didn't do that,
Yes.
so then the other ones really
correct, okay.
don't apply.
I think the last one would be okay, the town should encourage property.
Yeah.
owners to remove
Mhm.
properties.
And then the one on the back is developing an outreach program, but that's historic commission.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's ongoing, but it was a deadline of 1998 on one of these, I think we.
missed that.
Again, this isn't something that we have to like put into this plan.
Yeah, no,
I
right,
think it's just helpful to. See what the goals were, the last time around. So if we're all ready, we can start to review the table. Policy 1. If it's helpful for me to read them out loud, I can do that. If it's annoying, we can read them. But do you want to get feedback? Again, the black, they're required. Do you want to get feedback on the inputting party and time frame? And the options for that are short term, midterm, long term, ongoing. The definitions are on the first page.
Yeah, the fact is, now, the supposed.
And also for policy one, there are two suggested strategies, 1.4 and 1.5.
Alright, you know, it's Saturday, now, you know, it's Friday. Now. Good.
And also, I'm going to try again to send the factor to the historical society for their feedback, once I incorporate our edits, also the values.
Alright.
So these you said these ones are not, can't change, so these ones that you're looking just to add to it. Is that-
Yes, yes, and again, we also welcome any suggestions for policies and strategies from the committee, from this meeting, so. Again, I'm not emotionally attached to any of the stuff in green. If you want it gone, we can take it right out.
So I think on 2.5, this program for assets, I think that already exists.
Okay,
And I think 2.6 kind of exists too, right?
Yeah, they are, actually, we probably should change that development rate to support.
Or support.
Because I know the Historical Society is working on a walking map for historic buildings. And they're also working on a walking cemetery tour. Where they're gonna flag and mark veterans graves and things like that.
continue to support the existing self-guided tours to engage tourist residents alike.
Not existing. Continue
Continue
to
to support,
support self-guided tours, something like that.
continue to support the self-guided tours.
I think that would be like an ongoing.
And also in this historic society and historical society, show all the historical society.
Great. Likely a typo.
Quite a few different places.
Um, 2.3. I know we talked about it being part of our site plan and being part of our shoreland and subdivision, but it's not, I mean, like, you're talking. Any new development, any home. So that's not gonna,
A site plan would,
Require new developments, instance various reform analysis.
well, not a home, they would still have to make out
just a building permit.
a building permit, but if it was a big enough.
Yeah, right, but I don't know, I mean, I don't really. Carry away, I just,
But they say sensitive areas too, so.
yeah. I don't know how we,
What are sensitive areas?
I don't know,
Well, they would be on the National Historic,
oh, anything on
Is
register,
that what you're saying? So the intention?
I don't know, that one just stuck out to me as I don't know how
Yeah, I
we
mean-
would. track that or.
And then how do you do that? I mean, how do, what is the development? I mean, I know that we're not talking about that.
So oftentimes there's like archaeological zones where there's been identified archaeological resources, and that would be a sensitive area, for example.
You don't wanna dig it up.
Yeah, it's like before you dig or do anything, there needs to be some sort of survey, but also from if there was in theory a extensive archaeological survey done in town, there might be areas that are marked as sensitive areas.
So
I don't know if it's a
I
can.
don't like, I represent a lot of people that don't like adding
Right.
unnecessary regulation. We just got pushed into a $12,000 contract to dig for seashells and arrowheads down in Sewell Park, only to say the area has already been disturbed, but you owe us money anyway.
Mhm.
I don't like it. But I also think it's gonna be a swag in terms of identifying these sensitive areas. So along the river is already regulated by shoreline floodplain, and we can't largely build in those areas. A recent town contract demonstrated that a lot of those areas have already been disturbed. What's the cost of something like this? And then where do you start and stop, whether it's Sandy River or up on Father Isle Road? We don't even know if we should be saying Abenaki or Wabanaki.
Yeah,
I really feel like this is a stretch, let alone added, enforcement. And
Sure.
would there be regulation at the state level that if you came across something that was an apparent artifact, that you would have to report it and stop working?
And there already is for that.
Right.
My
If you
understanding
come
is
across
that,
like human remains, you need to stop if, stuff like that.
so these sorts of policy strategies are designed for towns who want to really engage with that historical preservation commission and get those conduct surveys, and if that's not something the town's interested in, that's totally fine.
It's not, the town's not interested in historic preservation. We're very.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
I know,
Yeah.
but we also don't wanna be some. A gunkwit either, or Kennebunk board or some heavy regulator.
Totally makes sense.
I don't think we can sell additional regulations on sensitive areas.
Yeah, I don't like 2.3 myself.
That's the understanding, people are gonna go one extreme or the other.
Well, I think like we talked about, the site plan and the subdivision and shoreline all take care of. What we're looking to preserve or what we're looking to regulate, so.
We permitted the subdivision of Red Barn Road, we were on the board at that time.
no, I wasn't.
Okay, so 4 or 5 years ago tops, Red Barn Road, there was an old foundation. And they came back and the town put building restrictions on that around the old foundation. No real historical connection,
Yeah,
but they restricted around it. And I think it ended up becoming a totally unbuildable lot, that
Yeah.
foundation is, but.
but that was covered by our subdivision ordinance,
Right,
so. I don't know, I feel like we have that, enough ordinances in place to protect. I mean, I don't feel like this should be every person who builds a. I don't know, yes, I'm okay with 2.3 going away, that's my opinion.
Okay, we'll strike it. Again, because I think to have a clear designation of what sensitive areas are,
Mhm.
there would need to be some upfront costs, and
Yeah.
that's not something that the
Yeah.
town's interested in pursuing. Which again, is not, meaning the town isn't interested in historic preservation, but makes sense. Can you run through the implementation party and timeframe for the mandatory sections? Before we go any further? So policy 1, strategy 1.1, implementing parties, timeframe. Town manager, select board, planning board, CEO, historical society, midterm. That may be. Maybe ongoing.
I would say ongoing, I don't know.
Yeah, I
If term
think
doesn't make
so.
sense to me,
Yeah, there's not like a,
but I think that's probably the people who should be involved.
Mhm.
Um,
1.2, town manager, select board, planning board, CEO, historical society. The ladies ones. That also be ongoing.
well, yeah. I feel like all of,
These are all.
yeah, that's, yeah.
And they're ongoing as well.
Right.
Great. 1.4, town manager, select board, historical society ongoing.
Mhm.
1.5, assisted nominating building sites for listing on the National Register of Historic Places, town manager, select board, historical society ongoing. Two one, support encourages Norridgewock Historical Society in their endeavors for town history, town manager, select board ongoing. Is there anyone else who would add to that?
And I would add town manager to 2.2. Just because. You're welcome.
Then we're moving to 3.
Strike that one, didn't
Yeah, we're moving to 3. 2.4, you seek funding sources such as grants aimed at historic preservation. Town manager, select board, historical society ongoing.
we?
2.5 already exists. Continue to support the continue to support self-guided tours. To engage. Boards and residents alike, historical society. Ongoing, maybe town manager, select board as well, or just historical society.
Probably town manager select board to continue to support.
And then spacings. Confusing on this one, but for 2.7, back to comprehensive vision for school buildings, more about education and inclusion on state or federal historical things. That's something we're interested in.
The historical society.
They've already
On top of it.
So are we just putting historical society in ongoing?
Yeah, I think you gotta add historical societies.
Do we want to remove town manager select board? Historical society ongoing. So 2, and 3 are a bit repetitive. But it does kind of expand on some of the ideas mentioned in, some different angles. It's, because it specifically talks about, the historical society rather than just general preservation. We feel it's repetitive, we can consolidate the 2 if there's any of the strategies we'd like from 3. So take a look and let me know what you want.
Well, 3.3, we already have in the site plan that if it is on the National Register or an identified archaeological site by the Maine Historic Preservation Commission, the applicant has to submit the plan to the Historic Preservation Committee already
Right,
and have their input, so.
There's another part to that, and this suggests that we give a platform to the historical society.
About that,
We don't do that.
no,
What do we think of that?
over the Maine Historic Preservation Commission,
Oh. It says require that the Historic Preservation Commission and the Norridgewock Historical Society be given an opportunity to review and comment.
be an extra.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
I know, that's a difficult one, because it's like, Maine Historic Preservation Commission only cares about the big stuff.
Mhm.
When the Historical Society generally represents
Local.
local interests.
And I don't feel like, again, like significant historic. Like buildings, I mean, we want them to weigh in on every change to every building.
No, it's what's on the National Register already.
Oh, so there's like.
And is that, or is an archaeological site identified by the Maine Historic Preservation Commission already? So it would be already sites that are already, that's what's in our site.
I just didn't know if like significant historic sites was that entire list. Of properties, or?
I don't
no,
know.
that's for buildings that could be eligible, I believe.
Okay,
And the official list is, The,
Just those like 6 places that are on the
Yeah.
National Register of Historic Places.
yes.
Okay,
So that's the CF Douglas House, Spalding House, Norridgewock Free Public Library, Eaton School, Female Academy, and Silver Maintenance.
okay.
Read that right.
Well, I guess they probably would weigh in on those things anyway.
Not how this is reading.
No, that's not
No.
how I read it. I read
This
it
isn't
like all
what I was
significant
reading.
historic
Right,
buildings.
this is,
Right.
yeah, situation,
What I was
significant
reading was
historical archaeological resources, so that gets back to like the three, or the one, the 2.3 that we struck already.
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, Robbie and I both own technically houses that are listed in this list, like. I mean, I don't know, I already-
If you wanted to do something that required a permit,
yeah,
what would your, there's nothing that stops an entity from weighing in on it anyway. Right,
I mean,
there's
my,
nothing that stops. The
So we're planning, the
setting
planning
people
board,
up.
they sent a letter to the planning board.
Right,
I mean, but are we talking personal, residential
That's what it sounds like. everything.
locations?
If they're identified, if
It's
they're
like
identified.
historical or
I'm just
archaeological resources.
No, well, that's what I'm asking, like, where does the planning board weigh in if I buy 8 Bridge Street and renovate it?
what if
Planning
he
board gonna
buys
weigh
one
in?
Main Street and flattens it?
Right,
Well, if I mean,
what if I flatten?
what
one
if
Main
we
Street?
do? What if we
Right.
do flatten
I know.
house on Main Street? Who weighs in?
Right,
Not the
The
planning board
Planning
necessarily.
board would for a demo, wouldn't they?
No,
The planning board doesn't have demo.
we technically
Permit?
don't have a demo permit process or anything in the town of
Yeah, I
Norridgewock.
would have thought they would have had.
there's nothing to stop
So-
the Grange from bulldozing the Grange.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what I mean, like, so, I mean. Again, I feel like that's like allowing the historical society or any board that isn't a town board to weigh in on something. That,
Well, they should have every right, if there's a planning permit required, they have the right to speak at it during the public hearing, or public.
But-
Right, cause if there's a planning permit, you have to notify butters and stuff, right?
Even on a planning board, yes, but
On a
on a.
business-
Site plan review. Is that
correct. But these aren't like,
uh,
you didn't have to do a site plan review, did you?
For siding the roof? I don't think so.
He went for subdivision.
Subdivision. I did.
That's separate, right, but
So I
like,
added the public apartments.
but, I mean. I own 8 Bridge Street and it's on this list.
Right, you know it was.
I didn't know it was on this list, nope.
Surprise.
And, I mean, I didn't even need a permit. There was no change of use. We
Right.
gutted it and renovated it.
Right.
And that's it. So, I don't know, I guess I'm just like. I mean, we wouldn't have needed a permit to demo it either. We could have torn it down and there would have been no permit process.
I'm not, don't take
No, I
this for
don't care.
support,
I don't
don't take
care.
this for support, but is it something that over the next 10 to 12 years that you think the town should be looking at?
Sure.
Is that if you wanna go and re-side or re-roof a building or,
I mean, I'm gonna be fair here. If we have to do extra steps for me to do work on my building, I'm removing my buildings from that list.
Right,
well, that's a discussion I.
You know what I mean? Like, I am all in favor of supporting the historical society, but if it's gonna make more work for me to do work on my building, I'm pulling from that list. I'm taking my plaques down, I'm telling the historical society to take me off all the records, because I don't like doing extra work. Right? I mean,
so
this.
for me, it's
Are
like,
you, is that building on the National Historic
No,
Register?
no, there's a reason why, and there's a
You
reason
just
why
did
it's
it.
not,
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's
Yeah.
not on that, because I
Okay.
don't want to pay for
Because you
it,
don't wanna do it, okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
I'm not, I don't want to, I don't,
No,
yeah,
I
no
was just
interest.
wondering if.
Unless they're gonna give me $1 million of grant funding, which, you know, there's funding available, and that's the only reason why I ever would do the national.
Yeah.
Registry, right? And again, if there's a requirement that says, in the planning part of, if any listed on the historical society. You have to go through this additional permitting and get feedback, and you can tell me what I can and can't do with my property that I own, I'm pulling it.
right. But it's.
No offense, like, I love Becky, I love the historical society, they do a lot of great work.
Oh, I don't think it's offensive, I just think it's.
I'm just trying to have the conversation.
Yeah,
That we are kind of breezing through, but this is what this plan is trying to direct you to.
sure.
Do you want in the next 10 years to consider regulations that would keep you from? Maybe you're able to do exactly what you did with your property,
Sure,
but you went through that added layer of bureaucracy.
Right.
Which I've already told you I'm not in favor of, but.
Right.
Do you think, as a town, that that's what people want to see, that historic preservation, or do you think that's where the buck stops? we don't wanna get into.
Can we just make it more specific that it has to be on the
Or you could just exclude it.
register? Like it has to be on the, like the short
The
list.
short list, yeah.
Well,
Not the long
I
list,
think the
whatever
short
it's
list
called.
already, isn't, there's
That's
already,
already correct.
there's already a
I
process on the
think
national,
we should get rid of it.
yeah.
So it's
Let's get rid of it.
even better. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing.
If those are already covered. outside of
Those, yeah,
this,
those are already
then
covered
there's
at
no
the federal level.
You're gonna.
Right, then I don't-
It's already a
State.
once
Yeah.
it's historic regulation.
Mhm.
Not necessarily with all the painted shutters, but we don't want you to go put vinyl windows in a historic building. There's a group of people that you
Yeah.
represent that doesn't just want that.
Sure.
So that's why that
Right.
discussion is important.
Sure,
Mhm.
right, I mean,
I
that's
don't think it's
definitely,
an attraction to pass in the next 10 years, but things change.
Sure, yeah.
right,
I feel like demoing a historical building would be of more significance than whether you have vinyl windows or not, and we don't have anything to protect against that.
So is that something you incorporate in something like this? As a goal, not that you're setting that policy today, but
Because
that
we can't really set the policy,
That-
all we can,
The
the
suggestion.
select board, the
Yeah.
planning board, the historical society might look at regulating demolition of historic buildings.
I feel like they should at least get to weigh in on it.
but what happens if they say you can't?
I don't think they should have the final say, I just think they should have the opportunity to weigh in.
to speak.
Yes,
Kind of like a public hearing where you have the opportunity to
Formalized.
speak.
Well,
and
you,
it really
so you
shouldn't.
be going through the environmental review process or the cost cutters process, is that what you're saying?
I think it would say that in the next 10 years, we want a group of people to look at regulating demo. All types, but with a specific look at historic properties.
I think historic buildings have a long-term effect on the town, whereas like a regular demolition, maybe not so much. But if you tear down something that should be on a registry, that affects generations, you can't ever get it back.
Right,
So I guess if we're gonna tell a property owner. You need to go to, I'm not saying that we're going, right, you need to go to the Norridgewock Historical Society, Norridgewock Historical Society writes a letter to the planning board. And says, this building should not be torn down. Right, and then the Norridgewock Planning Board then votes down a demo permit, just as an example, where are we then? We can't go to code enforcement, and start fining people for a dilapidated building, for say it's unsafe, right, for them going down, and then, but yet you can't tear it down. We're not letting you tear it down, so like, what's their option, just sell it? Just for cheap, it's all offload it?
I get all of that, but that current. Structure of regulation already exists at a higher level.
For the short list.
Yeah, but really for any property, I mean, DEP is gonna come in and tell you if you can or can't do this, if you've got to reverse that, if you go build something where it shouldn't be, they're gonna reverse that for you. I get where you're coming from, but that layer of regulation already exists.
And this is just saying rather we wanna consider it in the
Yeah.
future, not that we're putting it into
Sure,
place today.
You can go bulldoze a building,
it's really hard.
when you're not supposed to, then you can't go put it back, right? You can go to the planning board in good faith and say, and then the planning board denies it based upon what another agency says. And then you bulldoze it in the night. Nothing that really says, it's just the town saying this is kind of the way that it should be, that we're supporting in theory.
But so how would we, all right, so even if I.
I'm going down a
got
rabbit hole, I
behind that,
understand.
how
I
do we
apologize.
support
We're
it?
on personal property rights, and I understand that,
Yeah,
but this is about
We
historic.
support it then. Okay, so we're saying, yes, we want to put some sort of input and regulation on it. But how is the community, what would be our support process for that? Like Robbie's saying, nothing? Like,
Right,
that
I
can't be,
mean-
like, that's just silly. I wouldn't, I
right,
don't wanna rubber stamp something, not that
right.
it can, but.
I mean, could we provide us, I don't know, there's no requirement.
I would say that. This committee has the opportunity to provide a suggestion
Yeah.
to the planning board or to the town.
What do we
at
say,
this
what do we,
time,
what,
In the off chance that situations like we've hypothesized
right,
come up in town,
What-
and that
what
way
was-
there's at least some sort of like forethought.
Yeah.
Into being like, so we're thinking about it right now.
what do we say, investigate an option for some type of regulation or some type of input from these two groups on these sites?
That's fair, as
Just leave it super ambiguous, investigate and assign to the select board, planning board and town.
Yeah, I can support that.
To
Because
investigate.
I do think that sometimes we lose really beautiful buildings because people have like decided, I'm just gonna tear it down and,
Sure.
you know, rebuild, because it's easier.
Sure.
I mean, there's houses right now being torn down and people are just building new ones rather than renovating, you know, or so.
Yeah, I think and investigate. A way for these two groups to provide input on major.
I mean, maybe somebody comes in and they have a fantastic idea. on
Yeah,
how
someone
to
smarter than me,
establish it
definitely.
Without,
Yeah,
more
maybe-
work, without like
Right,
destroying.
I mean, I was thinking
the
like-
building.
a seat on the planning board given to, well, we can't really do that, so elected, right? We're elected.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it's more of just a,
More just an input.
here's our suggestion,
Yeah,
like. Not that you can't change these windows, but if you have somebody that cares enough from it and a historical organization that
Absolutely.
says. You know, we might ask you to think about this and that, don't paint your house
yellow,
hunter orange.
right? No, yeah, and I agree with that, like suggestions, I'm all for that. Like, I
Right,
have
and
no
that may
problem
be
with
how
that.
it's incorporated.
An input could even mean like giving resources, like here are some grants that are
Absolutely.
available for rehabilitation. or-
Yep. Yep, I agree with that, I'm on board with that one. I just don't like. Someone
Right,
telling me what I
input
can and
doesn't mean
can't do,
regulation.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this sounds like a regulation. To me.
Yeah, it does a little, yeah. Well, it just sounds like a lot of people without any skin in the game get a lot of input into your project. Sure. Which becomes difficult.
Investigate potential for requirements where significant historic or archaeological resources may be present, may be impacted. That too, they
Investigate what?
investigate the potential for requirements. Investigate.
Regulation.
the
Yeah, you
requirement-
could say, you could say
the potential for
regulations
regulation.
or input from blank. Maine Historical Preservation Commission and the Norridgewock Historical Society.
I mean,
Regulation,
what troubles me is that we give the Historic Preservation Commission. More of a seat at the table than we give our historical society.
Certainly,
And the historical society are well intended both for people that care about local history, and the Historic Preservation Commission largely flounders around politics down in Augusta. And it's irritating, and all it does is it costs people a ton of money. And they're not really cooperative,
Hmm.
whereas I think maybe a local group would be more cooperative and. You know, wanna work with you, wanna see you succeed and do things the right way,
certainly.
whereas the state comes in and shuts you down and then makes you work to take it right down by the time.
right,
So the implementation party and timeframe is select board, planning board, historical society. Short term,
let's go myth,
midterm,
yeah, it's like 5 years, right?
investigate potential regulations or input from. All rephrased.
Yeah, yeah.
From
I think you- I think-
MHPC and NHS were significant historic, it's 3-3, but. Investigating
Yes.
the idea of imposing this
Right,
suggestion.
investigate ways to regulate or provide input from.
Yeah.
You got it, I think you know what we're getting at here.
For 3-1, implementing, we're all right with 3-1.
Yeah.
Town manager, historical society ongoing. 3-2, contacts, main historical planning. Main historic, wow, MHPC to get obtain the relevance of findings, video interview and request allowance to temporarily display for locals to witness.
I don't know what that means.
It is reaching out to the MHPC for sort of research they have in town to have an exhibit, is my understanding. It's like, oh, give us these resources so we can put them on display for people to come visit.
Like a sign,
Yeah, or like if there's recordings or photos in Norridgewock that they have access to. It's just
And they like,
compiling.
it comes to our place
information.
on loan, right, and then it goes back.
That
to
would
the
be my
state
understanding,
archives.
not entirely sure how those processes.
Like if you go to history houses, they have a video playing over the times and it's just like
Mm.
pictures or
that's
little.
cool.
Or they can copy it for you and send it.
Yeah, that's how we get up there.
So is that the role of the town?
Sorry,
Is that the role of the town, or is that?
No, I think that that's just historical society,
if we're interested, yeah, that,
and I think it's ongoing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that actually the historical study is that they've already looked into this as
Yeah.
well.
Three point four is a comprehensive community survey. Are we talking, is that like a typical traditional survey? Plan for a comprehensive community survey for the community's historic and archaeological resources. As I would say.
That sounds like a consultant that would come in.
Alright,
Is there a benefit like funding for that, or is that just for our
Add
benefit?
regulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
that's-
strike 3.4.
Strike 3, 4.
I think, that's my opinion, I don't.
I don't think we need a comprehensive, I think what we're doing,
Yeah, I
we're
think we have a
building
good
an
group of
ongoing.
people doing those things that are, if they think it should happen, I feel like
Right,
that's a
yeah.
historical society thing.
I like this growing theme of reinforcing the historical society to do the work and siding with them as they decide. And, you know, through their research and work, like codify certain best practices. So 3, 5,
5 was pretty fine, I thought.
So there already is a historical marker program. Those-
Yeah,
Those
it's already
signs.
established.
That's what I was,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
3.6.
that's what I thought of that, okay.
3, 5, solves the data with 3, 2.
Oh, I did circle it actually,
Those all those signs.
yeah, probably,
There's something nice.
but I think like work with maybe, or.
Not nice signs.
I think that this might cover 3, 2, 3, 5. Looking at it again. When I initially put this in, I thought it specified the main state archives, but I am now realizing that I thought MHPC also has the main state archives. But they're separate organizations.
So you're gonna get rid of 3, 2.
I think
Get rid
we,
of 3, 2 and keep 3, 5.
yeah, I think we consolidate them into one, favoring 3, 5.
And if that's the case, though, probably town manager, select board and historical society need to stay because it's a funding thing. Yeah,
Oh. I understand.
Yeah, I
3, 2.
think you are different, you're looking at like things versus
Exactly,
providing money.
like 3, 2 is more of an exhibit, pursuing an exhibit, and 3, 5 is more.
Can you just change 3, 5 to like seek funding or other resources from the main level fund?
Or other resources. Yeah, I guess
Or
it
do you want it
depends if
separate?
we want to. Outline the purpose of seeking these resources for. A display. Or a temporary video or witness.
I
Yeah,
feel like a display in a video don't merit. Ink.
No,
I don't, I
Fair enough.
agree,
so we'll consolidate 3, 5. 3, 5 will cover
yes.
3,
Yeah.
2.
And
Other
3, 6 is
resources.
good.
On 3, 6
3.6 has already been established.
we X the buildings and leave sites and move it to midterm. Because we have some historic sites, we have like the Northern Border, we have Bristol Park. I'm sure we can come up with a few other places, cemeteries probably said, where we don't have nice signs that are like historic.
Oh,
That's an
Be
opportunity
interesting.
for us to work with
To do that
historical
kind of thing,
societies.
yeah.
instead, yeah.
Establish historical marker program for locally identified historical sites in Norridgewock.
And we exclude and buildings in Norridgewock
Because the
and,
historical society already has building.
Yeah.
and put in midterm.
Yes, so establish,
Yeah.
okay, so establish historical marker program for locally identified historical sites in Norridgewock.
And then, yeah. Good, and then you
Midterm.
move it to make it midterm.
Yeah,
Then move to midterm.
I think that would be kind of a cool little project.
Okay, moving on, 4, consider the adoption of historical preservation ordinance or land use standards to protect historically significant properties. Allow,
I am a.
I am,
I'm like, somebody say it first.
yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
I just think like that's just a.
That's really what we beat a dead horse in the first part of that, and then you added it, you know what I mean, so I think, you know, I'm not opposed to finding a way to say revise site plan ordinance to. Give
I
us
think
more
5,
information.
if you get to 5 though, I think it covers exactly, we'll strive to prevent
Yeah, right,
disturbance,
yep.
like, that's what we are striving to do.
and that's kind of why all these suggestions
Yeah.
are in there, so we can kind of. Pick our lane. So to speak.
I mean, so there's already a Maine Historic Preservation Commission information map for these areas?
Yes, I made a note to get it.
Okay,
Source,
yeah, okay,
source, the Maine Historic Preservation Commission,
yeah, that would be the story, area.
information. Source, the Maine Historic Preservation Commission information and map of areas with
Yeah.
Right, we'll do that, you can put the town on there too.
Town manager, historical
I
study,
mean. You can take the historical society out and put town manager select board,
What number is that?
number 5-1,
Sorry, one.
In short term, you want short term?
sure.
Yeah.
I don't like the policies on that one, their whole policy on number 5. To prevent disturbance of archaeological resources by regulating development in areas like.
Strike the whole thing.
The regular-
Well,
I don't know.
I'm gonna still bid on the map.
No, I think the town should strive to prevent disturbance of archaeological resources.
Oh, you're doing 5.2 is what you're talking
No,
about.
five policies, sorry, left-hand side,
Oh.
or left. Resources and requiring surveys before construction activities, so you're
Right.
requiring a survey, making a policy to require a survey before construction activities. We'll get back to that.
So you wanna lose that last clause.
Yeah,
And requiring surveys. before
Sure,
construction
right.
activity.
right.
the town will strive of volumes, I mean, in which part
The
of
town will strive to prevent, you're missing a two, disturbance of archaeological resources. By. Supporting. Something,
Responsible development
perfect,
in areas likely to contain those resources.
perfect,
Town will strive to prevent disturbance of archaeological resources by supporting responsible development areas like those resources and requiring surveys, that's a bit where you
Perfect.
Forget the
These are
surveys.
nice.
It stops at resources.
And requiring surveys before construction.
yeah, get rid of the survey, requiring surveys. Like that,
We wanna get it recommended.
right, yes, versus the town.
Then 5.1, seek the main historic, the MHPC information in map of areas with higher archaeological potential widely available.
I agree with that, that's a great one, then,
Town manager, select board, short term. 5.2, explore ordinance provisions for building standards that require applicants to identify and protect archaeological resources in sensitive areas, make building permits conditional with appropriate use.
I think that we should first start by taking out make building permits conditional with appropriate use. That would
And-
be under the explore provisions anyway of what they
Yeah.
decide to do after they explore it.
yeah,
But I'm also open to.
no, I agree, I think explore ordinance provisions, which talking about site plan review, fine. Building standards will require applicants to identify and protect our archaeological resources in such areas.
Fine,
I'm good
but
with that.
I don't know what the
And
rest of
strike
it
the
is,
belt,
it's
strike.
somebody else, not us anyway.
Yep, I agree with you, 100%.
Then select board, planning board. CEO,
Yeah, and I would say,
I'd say mid,
let's midterm probably, yeah, it's what, 5 years,
5
2 to 5?
2 to 5.
35, yeah.
10%.
I'd definitely say mid then. Oh, we on, sorry.
This is
Why is it see the thing?
point,
The
yeah.
shorter page.
Yeah, the next one,
Right,
so moving on to the fiscal capacity and CIP.
Did you wanna do the other part of this, the other table or no?
That's covering the
That one aside?
the FC CIP. So I didn't receive any, or actually, no, that's not true. I received very few comments on this.
There's only about 1 or 2 people at this table maybe that has the information on this.
Which is where I was going. No one's fault, this is a very data heavy chapter, So I'm still gonna go through and just double check some of this data I'm sure about, Local property values were last assessed 2017, and the town is planning to issue on page 1, sorry. Planning to issue a request for proposal with a target implementation date of 2031 for reevaluation, correct?
We're gonna go to 2028.
2028.
That's soon.
Hmm,
Great. I'm gonna go unfinish some things.
can I break some windows?
Flat those houses.
Yeah.
Not the places.
Yeah.
Not the story, not the story.
There's just some comments citing where data is coming from. And so Richard's comment from his initial review,
Fire station.
does table 3 look all right, Richard?
Oh, sorry.
Right?
Sorry,
Table 3, I just had your comment in, and.
well, I looked at your source of my MVR. My municipal valuation return. And so
The data.
I have other exemptions that weren't in this, because we have like the solar exemption and things like that. So I have those in for the properties. I think primarily it was total solar and wind energy equipment. Was one of the ones. But I can't swear to that. No, because I added the apparatus maybe too.
Hmm,
Anyway, I put in everything there, so you have full inventory of ours and properties.
yeah, I'll remove that comment. You,
And the percentage must need to be updated.
yes. Yes,
That percentage is not.
with I haven't noted that. And again, stop me, anything, it's further discussion.
Yep.
I'm gonna cruise it along now,
You're doing great.
I'm almost 13, almost 3.
And then the school bond in 2024 is the new school, we
Also,
don't pay it, but it sits on our books.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was just gonna ask that question.
I figured that, yeah, I figured the new school.
And I
would
was
build it,
like, yeah, I was like, oh, I know this.
Yeah,
Like, that's heavy.
So on page 8. On grant income. The town currently maintains separate capital project funds or special revenue funds, which often. Receive transferred intergovernmental revenue as the 2025 fees contained. I guess is it already answered, or does that need to be expanded on? It's special revenue funds.
I couldn't tell you exactly, I have to figure out what's in this question, I'll ask.
Okay. None of that. So then there's a pretty lengthy section explaining what a CIP is and why, and financing it. I have a comment here on page 11, under shared investments, Norridgewock historically been proactive in planning for future expenses and collaborating with neighboring towns. To maximize opportunity, for example, the town of Norridgewock provides Mercer with fire protection services. This offers Mercer a service and generates income for Norridgewock. Are there any other shared investments? Fire department, transportations, EMS, library. Resources community share.
The library? We should,
I mean, we fund the library, we let other people come and use it. Not by contract, you know.
do they have to like buy a library card or something, or?
They don't buy it.
It's very,
Sorry.
free.
That both libraries?
Hey there. Sorry,
That both libraries?
yeah.
Yeah.
Look for those.
I'm sick of that.
I have to bounce back to page 9 at the bottom last paragraph, it says, the revised CIP will be integrated with the budget process beginning in 26-27 for a calendar year. And this won't be approved until 27,
Correct,
so we're looking at 28,
27, 20, yes,
28,
just 20,
we're calendar year, so
understood.
thanks.
Good. And then shared investments, shared investments,
But we don't pay for a transfer station, we don't pay for EMS. So I think what we've got is. It.
okay. So. Then on page 12, there is some data that needs time to be completed. I believe Richard filled these tables out originally,
Yeah, so. We're not gonna be able to finish this.
understand,
I put some items in these tables of things that we've talked about publicly. With committee, board, department requests, but this isn't containing This doesn't contain everything. So I think what we really need is a thought about. Projects, we need departments now to weigh in on this, we need you guys to weigh in on this, because one of the things is how you prioritize them. And so. We know that the fire department is looking for a rescue boat, when they need it to be high. It's a high priority for the next year or two. Is that the way that this community feels? We start talking about, you know, the public works, well, public work, and I guess you separate the utilities, but, education and recreation, I think, will have a lot of discretion amongst this group as to, do we build a new library, do we build ports, do we, and where airport is relative? And then maybe there's something that's in your mind that nobody publicly has talked about that you want to put in this list, and you're gonna be able to do that too. But really, this is one of the most important parts and valuable reasons why you sit at the table. There are parks over here, you've got utilities sitting here, library. Projects that you wanna see in the next 10 to 12 years, or 15 years that need to get worked on in the next 10 years, and how they would prioritize. The big can of worms, but this is a lot of the reason why people sign up to this table. So you can. Put your mark on these tables.
Is there a time frame for low, medium and high, or is that just a? Do you know what I mean?
So the estimated replacement timeframe, table, there's a. You put table. or
Right,
the
yeah, I
column
understand
next
that, but I mean, as far as. Like with the midterm, the short term, midterm, in the other table had. Definite years,
to it. Yeah,
this doesn't, this
no,
is
this
just
is our recommendation,
prior, just your really opinion kind of thing.
certainly. I
Okay.
believe so. My understanding.
So, I mean, this is a big homework piece, is what I'm saying. And it could be really random, but if there's something where you're looking to spend money over the next 12 years. It should be here, especially if we're looking for state funding to support it.
I mean, that. Have. The individual departments of the town have a chance to look at this, like,
No, I mean, I took their list and I kind of put a sampling in here,
yeah,
but this doesn't represent what the town. The town structure, employment structure is, and I'm gonna add more to this.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be like public, what does the public want to think? Well, is there a hiking trail built out?
oh, this is different than what the.
I mean,
departments are.
I'm gonna give you town stuff that we need, but
Mm.
we're talking town, community,
Mm.
things like that.
Yeah, I mean, on that same note, like, I don't know what Todd needs for the fire department. So like, I'm not gonna,
Right,
I,
so-
you know, I mean,
Right.
Matt probably does, he
I-
works it every day.
I pulled out Todd's is right from one document you presented in the last 3 months, so this is what you have on like spend timeline.
Right,
Uh.
like same with like public works, I don't know what they need for.
Right,
Like,
and I'll populate that, and so then what we're gonna have, you guys are able to determine priority. And timeline. You can push those in or out, the amount of money for road maintenance funding, I put in that 750, that's the current placeholder. Does that need to go up, does that come down, where do you guys see that as a priority? But I really, it's the. Library, what's the library funding look like, there's parks. Rec, what do they see, are we gonna be building a brand new field like mini Fenway or something like that, or is lighting enough to satisfy? Those are the types of projects that come right top of mind that have been kicked around before. But then I'm looking for those projects that we haven't kicked around before, that this committee will get behind putting into a plan.
So
Doing that,
this is something that will go on a future agenda and we'll revisit it.
Yeah. And next, we have an extended period before our next. Chapter review, and there's only one additional chapter review for this month. So if we can spend more time looking at that list specifically. It's something that, we will have to affect you.
And then we're cut off, right before. For funding left. Million, 100,000, I mean, you have 20,000 on here,
yeah,
yeah, I just don't, I mean, I don't wanna put in like a $10,000, like, oh,
right,
I mean.
So I think-
10,000, but when you're talking, some of them only have capital reserve accounts of 40 grand, so 10
Right,
grand is a
but
quarter.
we also have a $5 million annual budget. Right, what's our annual budget?
Well, right, but it,
Right, so if we're talking $10,000, we're talking about fraction of a percent of the annual budget, right? So like. I mean, I feel that a $10,000 cap isn't a capital improvement. Realistically, it is, but it's not, right? You know what I mean? It's that's spending that Richard should be able to approve and just get done. Versus us saying, okay, we need to budget for this, we need to go down this, you know what I mean? What's the number? I don't know.
That's up to you. The struggle that I had, because you'll see where those lower numbers are. In your right, it's the needle is a lot smaller.
Sure.
Of the park where you're at.
Absolutely.
So, $10,000 to public works is different than $10,000 to parks and rec.
Agreed. So just kind of think about it like that.
Right, I mean, if we gave parks and rec a $500,000 budget this year.
Can you spend it?
Oh, I'm sure.
We have to still.
Conservative, right?
But we talked about recreation center in here.
Right,
Buy some size, rent them out for the trailer and all that stuff.
But is a rec center gonna be something that this committee is gonna support putting on your next 10-year project? Is it gonna be funded through grant or taxation or bond or? Sure. So I guess maybe the number would be,
I mean, the lowest on here, 20 grand. We-
Leave it at 20, variable depending on it.
2025. I mean, we've got inflation at the same time, so.
I mean, the dugout project sounds like not a lot, but it is actually a lot and it is quite an improvement and it will cost 20
And
grand.
by the time this goes to voters, it might be something.
Correct, right, yeah, there's
There's some $5,000.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't put it on, for me, I wouldn't put recreation, ball field lighting and dugout upgrade, I would say field upgrades, you know what I mean, and have it be one of them.
Hmm.
Cause we're not voting on
if
it.
it were me, I would remove dugout upgrades altogether
Okay, yeah,
and leave your lighting project,
Sure.
because your lighting project's probably.
right,
It's probably 75. Yeah.
I guess we're not voting on the budget, he's gonna be budgeting things later, so this is like, hey, these are things we like, these are other things.
Right, and I think the other thing is it's pie in the sky. a
Right.
lot.
And I think we need to make that clear. When someone reads this too.
Some of it's like essential operator, if you wanna keep moving, we're gonna need plow truck.
Right.
Sorry, Todd, but a tank replacement plan for 2031 in the department budget. Maybe this committee says, it's a 2035 thing, we wanna stretch out how long the trucks are gonna last.
Right.
That's why you have a seat at the table, that's why the fire department is designated a seat at the table, which they were here. But it's gonna be more important to be at the next meeting.
Okay, think about it. All for the list.
And honestly, water district upgrades, very important to the town, because we pay,
Do you want ours?
I think we probably should think about things like that.
Oh, sure.
Even if it's on a set aside.
Well, we have a
because
huge list.
Obviously, the funding mechanism, the primary funding source is what, and the town pays arguably 50%. Of
30.
on
That's
hydrants by budget, not by actual, right? And so by the time you add. What did we pay on the hydrant usage plus our own bills? Not having a New Balance facility, is it possible that the town is paying 50% of operating? Actuals,
I
right?
don't think so.
Anyway,
But
it's very
regardless.
high, we're obviously the largest ratepayer and that affects our tax base.
Sure,
Um,
sure. We have a great list.
but I think that
We're
we're
working on
I would argue that probably let's put it in there.
Sure. Yeah, again, we're working on
We
the
will agree not to touch it, because we don't have to say it.
comprehensive plan. But yeah, no, we have a good capital improvement list.
I think that would be beneficial in the grand scheme of, when you guys wanna do something that's gonna cost a lot more money, the town's gonna feel it. One way or another.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone feels, it's a 100%, no question. No, not question.
I just,
Yeah, I'm happy to get a list of next meeting. Or I'll send it to you, I'll send you a list. So they can be, or do you want a list?
Sorry, yeah, I would recommend, just like we do the other chapters, like, send me suggestions and then we'll cover them all together.
Santana Water District capital improvements. That has to go on the calendar because I will forget.
Perfect,
Turner, sorry,
no worries.
sorry,
What do you call you? Yeah,
Tanner.
yeah,
sorry.
Fully used to it.
that's great, every time it comes through, I'm like, see no problem. Literally, I know where
Yeah. Different world.
I know,
Side-
yeah,
side project.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So, yeah, just as I said, we'll send me a markup list So I mean, it's helpful to have them incorporated in drafts and sending the drafts forward. Thank you, Rich, for explaining that in more detail. I should be very good at it. Moving on to maps. I decided to park out, the cemetery map, which was a request, I believe, from Richard. Then I have a list of that short list from the historical resources chapter. Oh, also we'll cover the policy strategy associated with that chapter at the next meeting, once we get that list sorted out together. Suggestions. I mean, we can consolidate them, but we could add more buildings to it, we add the eligible buildings. This seemed like the useful information from that chapter in relation to Norridgewock.
I like it, I think it's good that I like the distinguishing between the National Historic Register of Historic Places.
No, that's not me.
Oh, no, it's not. The Spalding house should be behind the gas.
Yeah, it just needs to be over library.
Oh, just like into the
In the
library.
library, that on my digital version is correct. It just sometimes when, so like this base layer, this aerial imagery is really data intensive. And sometimes when it gets converted to PDF, not all of the data comes through it. So I think that was just left out. I'll re-export that.
What is the unnamed house of the Bigelow Stevens? Who's the Bigelow Stevens homestead? That little house next to the big center?
Yeah, where's, that's not listed on the short list that you have here, then, Norridgewock Historic Building Structures Objects.
Maybe the locations are wrong. This is off of Google looking where the addresses are.
Yeah, no, I just don't see it here, the Norridgewock Historic Building Structures and Objects, I don't see unnamed house or Bigelow Stevens instead.
On the,
I'm missing here.
on the short list.
In the short list, yeah, on page 4.
Douglas House.
Are we going the 6 Mercer Road? Would it be 6 Mercer Road? Right, like 14.
Where is this?
They
Were you-
finished
Are you
14.
talking about unnamed house?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I have it over here.
it's on this list right here.
Oh, it's on this list.
6 Mercer Road is on the big list,
That might have been a,
but I don't know what the Bigelow Stevens house is.
I think that's all just the Historical Society.
where that was on.
No, it says it's showing to PC.
Let me review this. Oh, okay. I'm mistaken.
Okay,
So there's a data set
okay,
with the state of Maine
okay,
that has a list of. There's an eligible category, there's an unlisted, there's an ineligible. Okay, let me restart. There's a bunch of qualifications for buildings in town
Mhm.
that ping it, the building for the main MHPC.
okay,
So within that list, there is, okay, these buildings have some of the aspects, but for some reason don't meet all the requirements. And those are ineligible buildings. There is then a not listed eligible category. And then there is a eligible listed category. This historic village map is all the eligible buildings.
The long list.
So it's not associated necessarily with it is
No,
associated with the
sorry.
chapter, but it's not directly. Detailed in the chapter, this is the state data that is used
I gotcha.
to create these maps. But again, the unnamed house doesn't really fit. It is listed on that building, but it's identified in the state data set. So we can remove that, if it's confusing, we can just do the short list. These maps are malleable for what's used for the town. But it should be marked a little more.
I would take out the yellow.
Oh, okay.
No, those are,
Yeah.
those are archaeological sites that have been done.
Yeah,
The yellow
and the blue is
The unnamed house in
the
the
map
middle.
like,
is an archaeological site.
yeah.
Is the names beside it close to where they are? So is that?
So the markers are where the location is
That's
and
the Sahakis and
they're
then
just,
the
yeah.
White House next to the big center is what that would be.
I was a bit confusing.
Well, there's no address.
I think we're all
I
fine.
mean, and I think that these are awful, these are awful, that based on.
You try to find a place located.
Well, there's no.
Yeah, so there's the blue, I feel like I'll let before I start talking about this. National Register.
That's my
blue,
center right
and
there.
See, so on.
The little house next to the Bigelow Stevens,
So, like,
that's the childcare
The
center.
national.
Yeah, so there's not, yeah,
Register
it's
is
not
like
much there.
So it's the
type
Sahakis in that little White House.
MHPC
I don't
is
think there was an archaeological dig there.
wider umbrella.
Makes
Hope
sense.
not,
You got,
we definitely did some digging there, we told them.
I have no idea.
I don't
It
either.
looks like they come and they review properties at a reconnaissance level. It's review compliance, survey level reconnaissance, they rate the building and then they determine whether or not it is eligible for National Registry status.
Okay, and that's what they.
They do this whether you want it or not.
So the blue is the national registry. Let me restart, I should look at the legend before I started.
Some of these places, they've been reviewed by Historic Preservation Commission and then they determine whether or not they're eligible
Okay,
to be on the National Register. So like One Main Street is targeted in their website and has been reviewed, and it says that, you know. It was surveyed in 1990, it was the home of Josiah Peter Minister, but it's eligible for listing. It was in fair condition at the time, timber frame. Gives you all that information, and then it's tagged as yellow. All of these places are tagged that way. So Six Mercer Road is also tagged that way.
this is hockey, and I do think they actually have a plate, and I don't know what it's called, what it says on the outside, but. I don't know that.
I don't,
Keep them on our
yeah,
map,
I like
Seems
the-
weird.
this list.
Short list in the chapter.
Yeah, please.
Six.
Cause then also,
It'll give addresses, they
Exactly.
can look at it, and if these maps kind of go with these chapters anyways.
yeah,
But the
That's-
Spalding House is behind. Do you see where the Spalding House is on this map?
that mark for me.
Yeah,
Great. Yeah, and that's a great point, the chapter will reference this map. So under this, the short list, the National Register buildings, I'll put. The appendix just has a map of that, and under the cemetery map, all right, the appendix has that.
And then this is going to the,
whatever, hopefully he figures it out. I don't know, y'all figure it out.
Oh,
Like, I circled it, it just goes over there, that house, there's no house there.
That's perfect.
I mean, there is a house there, but I don't think it's on the National Register.
The cemetery map as is.
yeah,
It looks good. Yep.
building real nice. And
The whole river corridor is marked as,
archaeological.
Are you looking at the set?
well, I don't know if I am or not, but,
In the whole
Arnold Trail
is split up.
Yeah.
That's right. It blankets the river,
Yeah,
so they're assuming that then the John will trolley, both sides of the river, the whole way to the river.
and then, alright, can I try to pull it up, they were curious here. So originally. The way I've done this map with other towns is using that big data set, because there's not as many historic buildings in other towns that I've mapped. But with Norridgewock. Past my computer, there's just so many properties that have identified as the capacity, but deemed eligible or not listed but eligible. So.
I might hit you up on my members for this, but the Historical Society. I know they're looking at mapping like their Main Street properties that they've actually put placards
Yeah, I
on
think-
in a completely separate document.
I think they have that already,
Do they?
I think so, yeah, I think they have the where all the plaques are.
I think it kind of would be neat to see
But if we could
something
maybe
tiny
incorporate
dots
that.
on there, not anything like huge, like not big,
Right.
Well, what,
big markers like that, but little like
So like the
stars.
cemetery committee really values having their cemetery map.
Mhm.
And Cape Cod's always kind of loosely maintained on forest like
Yeah.
did you have?
That's what we covered.
Plaque for you?
No.
So like I'll pass this around, but
Apparently I
you
have a
can
couple
see
houses that
the
probably-
whole area is.
Oh, wow.
At least
It's,
two,
this is
or-
this data set, historic
I mean,
preservation,
the part.
national registry eligibility.
Where the.
So all these buildings have been identified through the
That's
town,
crazy.
Got
That's
the
what it
whole-
is.
but I do think this map is a little bit
Midterm.
messy and maybe
To get.
not super useful. But it is.
You have to pay for your own plaque.
How much is that?
It's like, I think it was like 150.
Mention.
Honestly, isn't that something that's for this, to be considering,
Makes something.
saying, it's an economic development.
This is,
where-
again, it's a little bit confusing the layout, which is why
I mean, I.
They're simple,
I'm also.
pretty looking.
Yeah, straightforward.
Well, he did a bunch of research, I got a nice little.
Makes sense, though.
Look at the.
Yeah.
So is that, spotlight sign, that's.
That's
But
true.
yes, yeah.
I think I put the sign, but I think it went right to like the person who made the sign.
Yeah.
It's nice,
I know I probably should do it for a couple of my houses.
it was really interesting to go through the old deeds.
If we're creating more of that mapping data, let us know. What to do it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think they historical site.
Uh,
I'm gonna do it before we make an ordinance, so.
Or don't wait until.
I gotta think of a couple
Don't do
things.
it.
my understanding from Richard is that if. You're requesting a map that is being incorporated to the comp plan, as long as minimal, data creation, which sounds like this map would be. If there's a list of properties, I'm just putting points in the map, we totally covered, do the comp plan.
If not, we have membership,
And
and I
that,
don't use those for much,
we use 8 hours.
thanks.
So. Covering this capacity, and capital improvement plan, next month. For other business, I looked through the survey results, that's right now. And I'm just gonna read some bullet points.
How are we on responses?
134 responses, 109, are Norridgewock residents.
Not terrible, expected less.
Pretty good, I would say.
Resend it out again, send out a notification from Facebook again.
Yeah.
I haven't completed it, put it out.
Are we in a hurry to wrap this survey up?
No, I mean, it's a totally up to us.
Okay, so I've got another newsletter going out, I'll push it in there. Well, first.
Have we done any delivery of hand deliveries to some different locations or no?
Just the library, right?
Yeah, I've only got 5 or 6, maybe 8 hard copies back.
Okay. And just thinking like Sophie that.
We have our
Fair, yeah, sorry.
music series, can we do an announcement during?
Which
You
that's
have them available, maybe?
July 21st. The hard copy is intimidating.
Yeah, no, it's huge, I will say.
Oh, listen, the online copy's intimidating, there's.
Oh, really? I like the
some
online.
questions. There were some I was like, I don't care, so I kept going.
We did get reports that a lot of people were timing out.
Okay, I'll look into it.
If they got pulled away, they were timing out. So they took a hard copy and I didn't get a hard copy back from them, so.
Oh, yeah,
And that's just been like leaving the tab that they were, yeah, you know, okay,
I mean, you're doing it on work time,
sort
the
of,
person works themselves, so. But you do it on work time to get pulled away and then,
you come back,
right,
I'll see if that can be changed, I'm not super familiar with Survey Monkey, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, note of that.
Does the town have a table music series, or is it just the bank?
no, I mean, that's how they were,
Or they sponsor?
right,
I mean, could we have like, not saying we have hard copies, but have like. An image generated, even if it's AI, like, complete survey, scan this QR code and do it.
I think we have QR code, correct?
I think we do, yeah, it's just like, I mean, like, get it out there to remind people, because, I mean. I saw something through an email or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I need to do that, and then. I have done, I put it in my calendar, but, like, you know what I mean, like, remind people,
Yeah.
keep it in front of them, cause.
I made a very basic flyer that I think was distributed in the capacity.
Yeah,
Is that
I
correct?
mean, even if it's a flyer of the music series or different town events or whatever.
So far from the public, from the 134 responses, respondents. Expressed high satisfaction with community services, events, and essential services while downtown development and concerns about crime emerged as weaker areas. Those are from the questions that are, how does the town do at these 6 or 7 things? And how does the town do at these 6 or 7 things? And people are able to rank them as important or good versus poor. Residents place the greatest importance on maintaining public safety, keeping taxes manageable, and preserving Norridgewock's rural residential character. Housing results showed mixed opinions, which is question 10 on the survey. Specific results on question 10, which asks need for additional housing type. 60% marked elderly housing is important, 49% of respondents marked single family is important. 40% marked residential family care is important. And then there was lots of neutrality, which was an option. 51% are neutral on ADUs, 46% are neutral on tiny homes, 44% are neutral on condos and apartments, 33%. Marked. Oh, apartments specifically is a very split topic. 33% marked as not important, 27% as neutral, 36% as important. So that's a very wide
Neutral,
spread.
yeah.
And then mobile homes and condos so far have been expressed as not important, with 40% marking mobile homes not important, 35% marking condos is not important. So then, yeah, that already covered that. Economic development was broadly supported with more than 80% agreeing that the town should encourage new businesses, industrial development. Residents identified specifically grocery stores, restaurants, food service, farmers markets, and recreational amenities as top priorities, while also emphasizing the importance of revitalizing downtown. The survey also highlighted a strong commitment to protecting the town's natural resources. That question by far, very, like, almost nobody marked it as not important. Every category of farms, forest, rivers, wildlife habitat, water access. Wetlands also was marked as very important as a method. And then there was also strong interest in investment in parks, trails, and recreational opportunities. When asked about public facilities and services, respondents emphasized downtown beautification, public safety improvements, maintaining high quality emergency services, transportation priorities focused on snow removal, sidewalks, pedestrian infrastructure, instead of expanding police or EMS staffing, which is interesting that there's not interest in expanding police, but there's a lot of notice on marking, an awareness of crime, which I think might just be a societal thing that we all do, we notice.
We've explored in the last few years, the cost of policing, some people are privy to that number. And people don't want to pay it, but we understand that there's crime in the community. And we're supportive of, would like to see the increased presence, but Norridgewock has said on several occasions, the county needs to invest more into policing at the county level. We don't feel like we should be singled out and have to pay for contracts.
And that's completely reflected in the survey response, that makes sense. For the open-ended questions, which. Question 31, like, what do you like best about the town? What do you like least about the town? And what problems should local government address? Oh, and question 34, Ted, what can we do today that will have the greatest effect in 10 years from now? The general themes that residents express. They praised Norridgewock's small town atmosphere, welcoming community, and access to natural resources. The common concerns from the, phrasing this very strangely, the least question had to do with a perceived increase in crime and drug use, and there was multiple notes of vacant or deteriorating buildings, especially in the downtown area. Also, a lack of shopping or dining options, and a lack of activities for youth. Looking towards the future, respondents expressed a desire to keep taxes low while supporting downtown revitalization, attracting stable employers, and preserving the town's rural identity. So that's basically our review of where we're at with survey.
No surprise.
No, not really, nothing like that stands out either.
Did you have any funny
Oh, I didn't think of that.
There was multiple comment, or it was one person, but they, throughout the open-ended section, all 4 questions mentioned the dog that barks near the Sula Park. And there was a note that if the town is able to tell people what to do with their property, why can't they tell people what to do with their animal property? That was that one. There's a note that someone thinks Richard's handsome. Also,
I mean, I got a good manager comment.
Richard wrote that himself.
I was gonna say,
that was what I
That's in the other, under the 134, or whatever.
also someone noted Richard is a good dude. That's
We should
Oh
exactly.
my
take back
God.
those IPs.
Richard.
If I put in their email.
Well, there was one that came across that said the town was well managed. So I just took that and put it in my pocket.
I also saw it, I call it. Also, something that was interesting was speeding on ATV trails through downtown. There were multiple people who flagged that as something that, they were
There's
concerned
no speed limit
about.
on the ATV trail, unfortunately.
There's no speed limit on the ATV trails.
So I,
Which
before
is, yeah.
we wrap this up, I honestly would like to maybe mine into this a little bit,
Sure.
private session, because I'd be curious to see if we could identify through emails, if those are people that live on the trail, or those are people that might, or don't even live in town.
Well, you can see in the survey if they lived in town or not.
Right, so that's why.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think we should try to identify the people, because
No, not
it's supposed to be.
necessarily.
No,
Right,
I get
Yeah.
that, I get that, but if you live on the Childs Road and you're complaining to me about the speed of ATVs on Main Street, I find that curious.
Well, I mean,
if you-
I drive through Main Street.
I get that, but if you live or own a business on Main Street, and that's a concern of yours.
I don't
It's
know
gonna
why
carry a little more weight.
it's a concern of mine.
Right.
They scream up and down, it's terrible, right around that corner, I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, I don't think we should be looking at IPs of who submitted the
No,
survey.
I'm
not looking at
I know,
IPs, yeah.
But like, yeah, like, look if they lived in town or whatever, I mean, I think.
Right,
We must be able to just get a big download of all this data and then we can play with it, yeah?
right.
We can see individual responses, and there's an opportunity for you to leave an email address. And that's all we have. There's no identifying factor.
Say whether they.
Right, but you can see responded 1, 2, 3, checked, yes, I'm a resident, and responded 1, 2, 3, said, I'm concerned about.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right, so we can just get a bigger download and then we can do some pivot tables and throw up some information, yeah, I mean,
Sure.
right?
And I think that at a later date, when we have more responses after we try to push it again, that would be a time to do that. We could do it also now, for instance. But that would be my suggestion, so we
I
don't.
mean, I'd be curious to see what our non-resident, people that took the time to take our survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Non-residents?
interesting.
What were their concerns of town?
Or people,
yeah, the non-residents.
or people who aren't property owner, but not resident.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
Right.
those be.
I don't know, those are the kind of things that, after the fact, okay, curiosity, yes, but is that something that we really need to take a minute to look at and go back to our plan and say, okay, well, we need to target this or that.
Yeah.
Because we just spent an hour and 15 minutes talking about what we can do with the historical society to better our town, but
Right,
we also have a sportsman association that, you know, should play a role somewhere in this, and other organizations that should play roles. And ATV, outdoor recreation is a big part of the next 10 years, probably.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we've marked
and economic
some
development.
policies and strategies that we wanna go back and review. I believe the one we have right now are global economy chapter and the housing. Or chapter policy strategies and the housing policy strategies. We wanna revisit once we have an idea of what survey respondents are thinking.
Mhm.
So we have room for that extra meeting at the end of the session once we reviewed all the chapters, and I think we can mark a couple of these policy strategy sessions that. Or sections that. We want to review with the survey results, and we could use that close survey, look at the responses and look at some of these policy strategies that we made special note. Could change once we have survey responses. I think that'll be a strategy for that. For the time being, though, next month is going to be the ag and forestry chapter, along with that CIP table, those CIP tables. Next month meeting is gonna be July 28th. We're gonna go back to that fourth Tuesday schedule. Again, we're here today to accommodate my schedule, so I greatly appreciate that. I'll be away next week.
I thought we worked on that date.
No, not gonna work.
We have
Yeah,
music
we got
series
lots of
started.
great from that.
Okay,
Sorry.
Oh,
no, no worries.
I go to those
Let's go
too.
book that. Uh. What is your schedule look like?
My schedule for July,
Can we bump one way or the other, does that work for the group?
I can
Yeah,
do
well,
any day but Tuesday.
we bump another day
I
in
don't
the
care.
direction. We do Wednesday the 29th, 4 p.m.
That sounds
I don't
good.
double check right now.
I think I could.
Tentative 7/29.
Yeah, I can't bump a week forward on that. Or a week after on
Well,
The day is fine.
Yeah, on Tuesdays.
Just
The days
Tuesdays are
fine.
hard, right,
And
yeah,
then while we're at it, can we look at the August and tentatively plan on the 24th and 26th?
Yes.
And then if not, it's just at that, so we're not in this position.
I can do the 26th.
I can too.
Back to school.
Are you kidding me? That's a countdown for us. And if you go back to school on the 26th.
Oh my God, really?
July 29th,
One of our
and
favorite
August.
haircut, I think.
Of course.
You just get to change out of kids.
Yeah, they go back to school. We don't have 20 kids on.
Did they start that? I thought they
I
started
feel
later
like-
because of the way the calendar.
Thanks,
Sorry.
The other date that I might need to change is the meeting in October, but I'm gonna look into that and get an email about that as soon as possible.
Mine will be the meeting in November, but I won't be able to it. I do that. That's also Thanksgiving week,
Yeah,
so we should
move
probably
it.
move it away from that anyway, but. I won't be able to,
November as well.
yeah, but I'm gone Tuesday through Wednesday, Tuesday the week before Wednesday, but you don't have to worry about me, but.
Want to just close your home address to break in?
Yeah, absolutely, actually, and if they could set it on fire, that would be even better.
Oh, you didn't just say that.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't intentionally disclose that earlier in the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. No.
Anyway,
Say my home address.
No, it wasn't,
No.
it wasn't your home.
Yeah,
We have really great insurance on everything.
okay, so, yeah.
all right, here we go. We done?
I think it's-
Thank you.
That's it. Okay.